This is the magicwordpodcast.com.
We are now beginning the third and final day here aboard the Queen Mary, and actually I just finished a ghost tour of the ship that was led by I think I hear one in the background there now. It has been a spooky morning here already, and it's going to get even spookier because I'm here with my friend and yours, Mr. Brad Henderson. Hey there. Hi, Brad.
Hey, this is Brad Henderson. I'm going to talk as I snap a photo of someone else. No, we can multitask. How's it going, Scott?
Fantastic.
All right,
It's
smile,
been a
you
really
guys.
good... Really good. Perfect timing over here, by the way. So we are, again, on the final day of the convention, and it's been just a lot of fun. Have you been enjoying it so far? What's been your favorite talk or thing that you've seen?
Do I have a favorite talk or thing that I've seen?
That you've seen here or yeah.
You know, well,
I mean, there's still more to do here today. I mean, we got some great talks, and tonight's going to be the Long Island Mist, starts a Long Island iced tea.
And the reason you said that is you've had three of them already today.
Right. Well, it's only 10 o'clock. So that hence I've only had the three.
Right.
So you have come several years to this in the past.
Yes.
You are a collector yourself.
I am.
And for a while you were the curator for Richard Garriott's collection and
That is
everything.
correct.
Now, who maintains that now? Has he got all that in storage? Or is
most of it is at his house in New York now, and he's not doing tours and things like he used to, so he doesn't need a curator or tour guide.
Yeah.
His interests lately have been as president of the Explorers Club, so his collecting interests have slowed down.
Oh, okay.
Well, from the point of view of magic.
Magic.
But he's always been like that. He gets into these...
Hot and cold?
with various topics and articles. The last thing he was really collecting was he was trying to collect the entire history of the universe. From the oldest known bacteria that we have to meteorite samples that, date back, however many trillions of years, through everything from every geological era to today. So not necessarily huge items from each, but some representation of each major period from the birth of time until now.
Mm-hmm. Wow. So just kind of a small little collection he's working on.
It's in a cabinet.
Yeah, fits. That's right.
It's a pretty big cabinet.
Somewhere at the end of the universe. That's true. And the what's the name of the cafe? The cafe at the end of the
Douglas Adams.
Yeah, Douglas Adams at the end of the universe. So as far as
doesn't matter what you order, it all comes out to $42.
That's the ultimate answer, isn't it?
That's right.
42. So you have seen?
tax.
Have you been buying anything or acquiring things aside from puzzles that I know that you love and you
In life or here?
in life, not necessarily just here. I mean,
So I was very lucky. I have a good friend named Just Allen. Just Allen is an amazing magician, a real magician.
in Australia, or am I thinking of somebody different?
No, he's used to be in the Woodstock, New York area. He ran Just Allen's, and he had a place out on Route 28. And he sold overpriced things that no one needed, and that was his own description of it. But I learned many valuable lessons about life and magic from Allen, maybe more so than almost any other person.
Sure.
Well, one of the things he said, I never tried to sell anyone anything. He said, I tried to create an experience from which they would want to retain a memory. So when people went to his shop, they would buy something not because they needed it, because they didn't need anything in his shop. He sold estate jewelry and dirty postcards and magnets and antiques, and it was just had a magic counter. But he felt that if people had such a wonderful experience, they'd want to take home a memory.
Sure.
So they'd buy something. And what they would buy would be dependent on their price point. So some people would buy a $5 dirty magnet for your refrigerator, and some people might buy a $50,000 piece of antique estate jewelry. But if you think about it, with magic, if you're ever in the opportunity, I work a lot of venues in the summer, and I have a huge fan base. And I get all these people come up to me, and they all ask the same questions over and over, and they say the same things over and over. And, when you're on the road for a month and a half and you hear the same question over and over, it's very easy to want to start to get jaded. But what you have to remember is, for that person, what they want more than anything is a memory with you. Mm-hmm. And this is their chance for it. So they don't know what to say. It's okay. They don't need to know. They just want, it's like the greatest compliment in the world. They want to take home a memory. You've become so important to them. They want their private moment with you.
And by having something tangible that is a memory of that moment.
Well, you could do that. I mean, that's a good excuse to sell T-shirts. But really, it's more about understanding what that dynamic is when someone comes up to you after a show and wants to ask you questions or ask you how you get started. And, you know, we as magicians, I see people write these things. They ask you this question, oh, I've got my standard stock lines or whatever. And I understand why they do that, but I think that's really kind of rude. Not because of how we feel about it, but by understanding what's motivating this desire for someone to come up to you after a show and talk to you. They had such a great time that they want something more than the show. They want a little extra special moment with you. And I think that that's rather profound. One of the other things he taught me was how obstacles we can build in our paths. We would sit on the steps of Woodstock having ice cream, and we'd look at buildings, and he would say, because of that gate, they're going to lose 10% of the people because 10% won't walk through that gate to get to the steps. Now, there's 3 steps. 20% more aren't going to go up those steps. Right?
Right.
So
even if they open the gate.
Yeah, it's just they see barriers. They see barriers. So trying to realizing what are we accidentally putting in the way. So when I design events where I want participation for people, or I want people to move through spaces, that's exactly the sort of things that I consider, understanding how people are always looking for the path of least resistance. But Alan came to do an event for me, and as a present to me, he redecorated my entire collection, redisplayed it all. And now all of these things, you know, which I tried to display in interesting ways, you can now see everything. And his lesson was, you know, not everything can be in the middle of the store, right? Not everything can be under the spotlight. There, you know, you only have a few choices there. And the importance, and what's great though, is now is my house is so well displayed that I see so many things, and I just go, do I want to make room for it? So
it has to be really important for you to add something.
Right, because now I've got a beautiful collection. I need more A plus level pieces. I've got several A plus level pieces, but last night I helped a friend buy an item which I should have bought, but he kind of was, I knew he wanted it, and I helped facilitate, I think, that deal. But I'll regret that moment for the rest of my life, too. You know,
because you wanted that yourself. But
yeah. But, you know, I think that's the hardest thing about being a collector. It's really very much a disease. You get an auction catalog, and to me, every auction catalog is merely an opportunity for disappointment. Because either it's something I want, which I probably won't be able to afford, or it's everything I already have, and there's nothing in it that I want.
Yeah.
So, you know, I used to tell people the difference between being a collector and a hoarder is one of price point.
I see the difference. Sure.
Right?
Yep.
And it is tough to come to a place like this and not want everything.
Yeah.
But not all of us are in a position where we can afford everything, nor should we.
When you were talking about having special moments, a piece of somebody's life or something, reminds me of a comedian. I can't remember his name. Aziz is his last name.
Ansari?
Yeah, Aziz Ansari. And he said when he's like in New York or wherever he's walking the streets and somebody recognizes him and said, "Can we get a selfie?" And he said, "No, but I'll give you some time. Let's just take some time and talk." Yeah. He said, "That'll be a memory you'll appreciate and remember longer than this picture." And it's like, what a great idea.
Yeah, and it's a shame because selfies and the Instagram social media click-like economy has had, I think, the effect of reducing human interaction to moments of potential social media clout.
Yeah.
So a lot of it's like when the autograph hounds would, go up to people and they didn't want the autograph. They were doing it to resell them.
Right.
Right?
Well, that's why Ricky Jay always would sign your name to Brad from Ricky, because if he just said Ricky Jay, he knew it'd be on eBay that night.
Yeah. And it's when we see celebrities or artists or human beings that we want to condemn or vilify because they put up walls. It's hard, I think, for us to admit that we are the reason that those walls exist.
Yeah, that's a good point. Interesting observation. Yeah.
If we weren't souls, then they wouldn't need to, but right. When we turn interactions with these people into moments for our own self-aggrandizement. Look at me. I'm with so-and-so.
Right.
Right. Where really, if anything, I've never been a big, the one exception to that, though, I've never posted it. And I told him when I did this, I said, I hate asking you this, although he does it all the time. But I asked Chris Hart to do the hand
on your head,
on my head. But that's because Adam's Family was such a huge influence on me when I was a kid. So to have that photo, in fact,
but you're not posting.
I don't think I ever posted it, but I think I was looking at that last night, actually, and I was like, oh, that's a cool little moment that I had with him.
Well, speaking of cool moments, they're about to start another cool moment here with our 11 o'clock thing. Looks like they got a panel discussion or set up. Looks like Lance Rich is coming up to the podium.
Well, I think they're doing the Mystics now.
Oh, maybe they're talking with the Mystics, okay. But I thought they're going to be doing a show tonight, so I think you're right. They're talking.
The show's tonight, but the panels. Now, I think Randy Pitchford is supposed to be on this afternoon.
I haven't seen Randy here, but I guess maybe there's a lot of people I haven't seen. Even though it's a small convention, I'm still running into people that's like, have you been here the whole time? So,
well, I think having it here is an interesting choice.
Great venue.
In Akron, or was it Akron? Where were we? Cleveland.
Cleveland last year.
Here, because there are so many magicians in such a hour and a half, 2 hour radius, I think we're seeing a lot of people that are showing up.
Good point. In the LA area.
Whereas opposed to the more, not, I don't mean to denigrate anybody that's here saying they're not serious collectors or whatever, but, it's easier to come out on a lark. This is a much bigger conference. Of course, Vegas, I think that was the biggest one they had.
That's where they're coming next year, too, because they know their numbers, know their audience.
Yeah, but it's nice to go to places where, getting to see Bruce's collection was, of course, possible.
Yeah.
And getting to tour the HRC. Now, I am you now as well. And that's just in our backyard. And Eric Kaleri, who's the director of the theater department, is the nicest human being on the planet. Last year, I did a show for a philosophy class. And afterwards, I just popped in and I called him up. And I was like, I hate to be this guy, but I'm in the lobby. You want to have coffee or something? We probably spent 3.5 hours pulling stuff out.
That shows you what a great guy he is. Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah. What an amazing resource.
He loves people who have a sincere interest.
And we should tell people, if you want to see it, you need to do it now. And the reason is that whole collection, everything in that building, all those millions of artifacts are going to go to storage. They're having to redo the entire HVAC system. They can't repair it anymore. It's so old.
Sure.
You can't get parts for it.
So they got to store everything while they go and revise.
Everything has to be shipped out. The whole place is going to be redone.
That's going to be at least a year. 3 years, maybe.
So how many bureaucratic / government projects have you known, Scott, that, and I'm a pro-government guy, and I can say that's going to end on time.
Good morning.
Speaking of ending on time.
Yes, let's end now. So with the Magic Word Podcast, that was Brad Henderson.
Let everybody
Scotty
take
out.
their seats and...
Well, as I mentioned, that we are on the last day, the third day of the convention, and as we finish this, then one of the people that I told you earlier is always busy, and I really can't talk until towards the end of the convention, and now is that time. The organizer, Mr. Bill Smith. Hey there, Bill. How you doing?
Scott, welcome to the Queen Mary.
Why, thank you, Captain or Commander. This is great being here. How did you choose this place? I mean,
Well, I was born in Long Beach in 1955. In 1967, the Queen Mary came to its new home, Long Beach, and I was 12 years old. And my sister brought me down, and we watched it come in. A couple of years later, they allowed locals to go on, and I've always been a Queen Mary buff, and I really loved it. And the IBM convention was on here, I think, 1985. I had a dealer booth, and it was great. So I always wanted to be on the Queen Mary. Mike Caveney, basically, they were thinking about having the history conference here, but the problem
the
is
Los Angeles history thing
to move it down here.
Yeah.
And the problem
more
is
room.
the problem is that room is a challenge because there's columns, there's columns all over. So you saw how we sat it, there were between the columns, and there was maybe like 15 feet between the columns, and it was a little tight. But it's such a beautiful, historic place. I'm staying because I'm spending about $75,000 here for for your guys' rooms and all. I'm giving that kind of revenue to the Queen Mary. So I get certain comp rooms, and I got a suite right now at a Marriott or whatever. It's like it's a little suite. I have the Queen Elizabeth suite. Did I show it to you?
No, I would like to.
Show it to
Can
you
I see
tonight.
this later?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so it's amazing. You walk in and it's huge. It's like 900 square feet.
Holy cow!
There's a maid's quarters. And
in the room?
Yeah.
A maid's quarters?
Yeah, because these rich people would bring their maids.
It was the Queen's, literally the Queen's room.
Yeah. And so I know a lot of celebrities probably lived in there. And so I wanted the Winston Churchill suite because we know for sure that Churchill was on here for three.
Is that a pretty big
times.
suite also?
It's the same, but it didn't have the maid's room because he didn't have
Still
a maid.
smell like cigars?
Yeah. But it was, so Mike Caveney and Stan always room together because I'm buying their rooms for them. And I said to Stan, if you don't mind the maid's quarters, which it's pretty great. And he goes, yeah. So Stan's been in my maid's quarters. So, and then last night, Randy and Christy Pitchford arrived, and then they're in the King George suite across the way, and it's identical. Wow. So it's really great. This place is it went a lot of disrepair, but and that's why I wanted to have it here before the pandemic. But then during the pandemic, I drove by here, and it's just like a ghost town. And so I was like, well, that's the Queen Mary's out. When we decided we couldn't go to Vegas this year, I was looking at Marriott's and other things around, and very expensive. And I said, well, it's a drag that the Queen Mary's closed. I said it to Les Arnold. He said, no, they just opened. A friend of mine did the big band on New Year's Eve.
And they're probably looking for making deals.
They were definitely. And so I came down here, and it was like, wow, this is going to be perfect. Because our sessions are in the Grand Salon, which was the first class dining room. And the first class dining room annex is the Windsor room, and that was our dealer room. And then yesterday, up on the promenade deck, they have a thing called the board room where Mike Caveney brought his Egyptian Hall, amazing posters, one-of-a-kind posters we had up. Friends of ours, Bill and Bob Self, who passed away sadly, they ended up with Thurston Illusions, and we brought those. We had those on display. We had all the versions of the Rogers statues.
Yeah, the Traveling Magician, and then also the Jim Coleman videos who were watching films.
Yeah, Jim Conley.
Sorry.
Yeah, that was great. So it was just it's a really great place because it's so classy, and I don't think of a better place to have a history.
For this type of a convention, you're absolutely right, Bill, because when we had the 1986 convention with the IBM here, I was at that convention, and we were bused over across to Long Beach where we went to the theater. Correct. Yeah. And because we're not having big illusion shows or anything, this is ideal for what we're doing.
I was there, and I was here but I was only here for a couple of days because I was off to go into Hong Kong with Blackstone.
Oh.
So I missed the show that Doug Henning was on.
I missed that show because I was booked to work at the Magic Castle starting on that Monday night, and he was on Monday night.
Yeah. So I don't even remember where the dealer room was. I think it was down in one of the old cargo holds or something. But it's a great place. Everybody had a good time, and
we have.
I book acts, and this was Southern California related. I mean, it was like a heavy Southern California, but that's what I wanted to do. Every time I go to a certain city, like we were in Cleveland last year, and we had two
about the flavor of that.
Yeah,
in Austin, same thing.
Houdini in Cleveland, and Bruce Averbook and Tim LeGanke's collection, and then Austin, the Ransom Center, and.
Trixie gave a great talk then also.
Oh, I know. And that's what, and I said to her, okay, Trixie, I don't know if you're up for it, but in Magic of Texas.
Yeah.
And she goes, she didn't want to do it at first. I go, you knew all of these guys.
Yeah.
And the best, Ray Anderson, we went to Esther's Follies.
That was awesome.
So it's been a good run. And next year we are going back to Vegas. Not the way I work this, my loyal customers get first dibs. So I'm going to probably open up registration in September, November, and it'll go out just to people that were here.
Us, yeah.
Yeah. And then we will, I'm only limited to about 180 people because the David Copperfield tour last time, it worked so perfectly.
It was.
We're got to do the same format. And
You only let in so many people, I'm sure.
yeah, what I do is there's 180 is really, that's because we have groups of 15 and the busing, like I said, it's all worked out. So, and what I do is I have about 25 to 30 of my friends who work as docents in Davis, and they just stand. And if you're up for it, you can be one of them. And you just basically, you hang out in the museum the whole day.
I'll do that.
And that way I can get more, it's fun. You can roam around and you can, so it's really great. But, so tonight, right now, we have our next session is going to be Randy Pitchford is performing some Okito pieces, and we've got
I would have guessed Cardini pieces. We're going to do some Okito pieces.
Okay. And we've got John Cox talking about Houdini on the High Seas, and Gabe Fahuri on the David Bamberg Illusion Show book, and then we close with Gabe doing an auction.
Live auction.
12 quick pieces and no minimum, and it's going to be great. So. Okay.
Yeah, this is going to be great. Thank you very much for your time, and thanks for putting this whole thing together. It's been a lot of fun. So for the Magic Word Podcast, that was the organizer, and next year is going to be in Las Vegas, so be sure to stay tuned for that. This year we didn't have it in Las Vegas because, again, we had to delay that because David's Copperfield, he was still working.
We were waiting for some new things to
be coming in. So for the Magic Word Podcast, that was Bill Smith. Scotty out. So the presentation we had this afternoon was with the Long Beach Mystics that Lance Rich, who is not a member of the Long Beach Mystics, actually was the moderator for this, and he had several people who were on there. But what was kind of cool is not only all the stories and the videos and things they showed up on the screen, but also how there were so many people in the audience who were just in attendance because we are in Long Beach where the Mystics were here. And there were more people in the audience who were Mystics than there were actually people on stage. And I got one of them now with me, Ed Alonso. Hey there, Ed.
Hello. It's always so fun to be on your show. Yes, I was a Long Beach Mystic, and boy, that was the third thing in magic that changed my life. When I started to become members of magic clubs, the first one that I joined was the SAM Ring 21, which was, or no, it was 22, which was below the bank at the Home Savings Building. And it had a whole theater.
Is that in L.A. or is that in Long Beach?
Here in L.A., in Los Angeles. And so that was the first club that I had joined.
And you were how old then?
Oh, I was probably 15 at the time. Yeah. Yeah, it was probably 15. So I found out about that club because I had been auditioning to be a junior member at the Magic Castle when I was 14. The first time I auditioned, I didn't make the audition, but I saw what the other auditioners were doing, and I thought, okay, I need to move into something a little different if I'm going to be part of this club. So first I was a member of the Post, the 1313E Post, decorating mannequins of Thurston and Keller with their original equipment down in the basement.
Wow.
And then hearing about the Magic Castle and how I needed to become a junior member there, that changed my whole life. And then one of the junior members was Mark Halen. He said, there's another magic club in Long Beach called the Long Beach Mystics. You would be perfect for. So, of course, I attended my first meeting after that, signed up, became a member, got the original Stan Allen newsletter every month, which was the prequel to the Magic Magazine. I think it was called Inside Magic.
Inside Magic, because he used to be, he was a demonstrator at a magic shop.
That's right.
And he was kind of...
At the Los Alamitos Magic Shop.
Oh, is that where it was? Okay.
That's
and
the
he put that newsletter together.
Yeah, and that's where we'd have our club meetings for the Long Beach Mystics. And then, today when we saw them speak about the Long Beach Mystics, they were all, the presidents of the club or the secretary, all the officials, back then. And I was just a member. And Dana Daniels was, I think, maybe the last president in there. And he asked me to be part of a couple of the, it's amazing.
No longer exists.
It didn't really exist anymore. Once the magic shop closed down, the Los Alamitos Magic Shop, then it was kind of like, well, everyone's kind of breaking away. We don't really have a place to meet. And it was, that kind of thing. So, but the camaraderie of the Long Beach Mystics, as you saw during that our presentation, we're still hanging out together. We still admire each other and learn. Oh, yes. And I learned so much from those guys, and I still do. I still look up to them, and I think they still look down at me.
There was such mutual respect on there that they talked about, and there were a lot of names that I had not heard about, but they were speaking just as lovingly and admiringly about someone who, to me, I didn't know as they would with people who are like you, I do know. And so, but the point is, everybody I kind of felt like that were felt as if they're family, they're brothers and sisters, and that this is a family, that everybody loves each other.
Oh, it is.
Because the way you guys encourage each other to saying, hey, you should try this or that, giving other ideas. And
well, I think what makes this a worldwide international family, the Magic family, is because we're all part of something that is so quirky and odd. I think we're just a few levels up above guys and gals that collect stamps. And so it's a very, very special group. And when you love something like magic tricks as much as we do, which probably isn't very healthy, then you have to hang out with people that think like you do. And I think that's what we all do. But the real answer is that we still are thinking with the mind of a 6 or a 7-year-old or a 10-year-old whenever we saw our very first magic trick.
Yeah.
And that's what brings us back more and more to try and spread that, interaction with other people.
so very well said. Ed, thanks very much. I appreciate it. We're going to go hear something else going on then right now. I believe that Randy Pitchford's going to be talking about somebody, Okito, I believe, or something, I believe. Or,
all right.
He's got a topic, and then we're going to be having a little conversation from Gabe Fajuri about Potter and Potter, and then he's going to actually auction off some things, so you can kind of see what an auction is going to be like.
All right. Well, I'd like to meet him because I'm sure at some point in my life I will need to contact him and get rid of things that I am no longer using.
Well, it better be cool stuff because he's very selective.
Oh, I know.
Really cool stuff that he's got.
I got some of the coolest stuff and stories to go with it.
Well, I know you got great stories.
Unbelievable.
I would recommend for people to go back and listen also to some of the things you and I talked about on that episode.
That was a good show.
Down there in the library.
You know what? I have to
favorites.
say, of all your shows, that's my favorite.
If your favorite, would you really? I mean, is that your honest opinion? You'd recommend the Magic Word Podcast?
I'm only saying that because it's me, because I'm on it. They're all my favorite. I love all of them. There's some kind of information and knowledge to learn on every one of those podcasts, and it really gives us a more personal look at some of these magicians, whether we like them or not. At least we get you give them a platform to speak on.
Sure.
Which is okay, you know, because some of them are very short and they need to step up a little.
Let's try to look you in the eye.
Exactly.
That's true.
All right.
Well, this is Bill Wells. No, I'm sorry. This is Scott Wells.
I did that. That was on our very first interview. I did that. You know, Bill Wells was a magic enthusiast and president of many organizations that I grew up with. And it was after having a few drinks at the Magic Castle, I slipped up, and
so funny.
You'll never let me let that down.
I won't.
Only through the power of editing does no one else know that story.
Only right now, because I edited. If you go back and listen, you'll never hear that. But it was smooth transition, and you went right on. I'm not even going to tell what happened. You have to go back and listen. Ed, thanks a lot.
I fixed it. Good to
The
see you
Magic Word
again, Bill.
Podcast. That was Ed Alonso, Scotty out. We just finished the final session for this afternoon and for the third day, and they're now getting ready to put in the tables and for the banquet. And we've finished not only the talks, but also Gabe Fiore did an auction from Potter and Potter from the stage, which was pretty fast-paced and brought some pretty high prices. But I got a couple of people with me now who were one was attending the convention, and the other one who has been a presenter in the past, and then someone else who was actually presenting this year. So, first of all, Lance Burton, good to have you.
Hey, Scott, good to see you. And John Cox gave us a great talk on Houdini on ships, because we're on a ship, the Queen Mary, and he went through the whole history of Houdini, Atlantic crossings, and all the seasickness
And that was what I
story.
found interesting, by the way, John, is that he was the king of seasickness. What was the quote he said?
He was I win all medals for all seasickness on boats, something like
all
that.
ships.
I win all the medals. Yes, he suffered from seasickness his entire life until his last voyage, and he made that one without getting sick.
You think it was something he just got used to, or maybe it was a more stable ship?
No, it was the Imperator. So that was anything but stable. No, I think maybe he finally got used to it. Unfortunately, that was it.
Well, it was a very interesting talk, that you had given us. It was interesting also, we were talking about Cleveland, that you like to give so many up to 5 stars if he has actually been to some place and if he'd performed there and et cetera, et cetera. And Cleveland got 5 stars, but Long Beach got
Long Beach got 0 stars. Yeah,
Never
you
been
can
to Long
travel in any direction and you'll hit a Houdini city.
and
But
even lived here in
Long-
LA for a while.
While he was making movies, he stayed for an
Yeah.
extended period of time. But yeah, he never made it to Long Beach, or maybe I just haven't found it yet. When I do, I will apologize to all the citizens of Long Beach, but no record.
I
San
think-
Pedro, right up the road.
So if anybody would have found that, I would have thought you would have by now,
Yeah, not yet.
especially since you've been doing a little bit of research into that then.
Oh yeah,
as well.
yeah.
So what have you enjoyed then, Lance, as far as the convention goes? I mean, each year you've been coming, and I know that you're getting more and more into collectibles and things. So
I love this convention because you learn something at every presentation, because guys like John do all this research and then they get up and share it with the magic community.
Sure.
So you're always learning something new, and it's just always fascinating. And I like coming and not knowing what we're going to see, because it's always something surprising.
it's kind of like, Stan puts together Magic Live. It used to be based upon the magazine, which you don't know what's going to be happening. That's why I never told who was going to be coming. So each time that you would come each day, it would be something new and different, like turning the page of the magazine. Likewise here, although they announce who's going to be talking and everything, it's still, we don't know exactly what you're going to be saying.
But this
And so-
afternoon, we had a great little session with the Long Beach Mystic.
Oh my gosh, the stories they told.
And it was fantastic, because I was there at Abbott's in 1977 when they performed at Abbott's, and they
Yeah.
had a big impact on all of us teenagers at the time.
Well, and you had pointed out Kevin James.
And Kevin, it was so amazing to see these kids doing these professional acts. Kevin James was, I think, 14 at the time, and he wanted to join the Long Beach Mystics.
So impressed.
He up and moved from Michigan out to California so he could join the Long Beach Mystic.
And be part of the group. He knew that how important that was, and that had meant so much. And I found also I thought about how much they think of each other as a family. It's not necessarily something that they kind of help each other out, like in clubs that we see each other each month, but this would seem to be a lot different. And the camaraderie they had is different than any club I've seen, which was something you said about Houdini, I think, when he'd come out. Was that you that said that, or somebody, I think, the other day, about Houdini had come out and was noticing, well, this was David Charvet's lecture about when he was visiting with the local assembly, about how strong and tight of a community that they had, that he was encouraging other assemblies to be as good as what this one was out here.
Yeah. He when he was out here in 1919, he performed and hung with the SAM assembly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Did you find anything, by the way, Lance, to add to your collection, or did you bring some stuff to get rid of?
I'm trying to get rid of things. I'm not trying to get more. I have too many things already.
You got enough stuff. So, yeah, that I was going to say, I would think that you have a lot of stuff. Well, you got barns full of things eventually you're going to get rid of, I guess.
I got my hands full just organizing my own props and illusions and scenery. And I'm just been spending the last couple of years getting that all sorted and put in the warehouse. And so we know where everything's at.
Well, eventually, perhaps at one of these conventions, we'll see a Lance Burton table of stuff that you'll be getting rid of.
Yeah, when I'm dead, then it'll go to the four winds, I'm sure.
How you feeling? You doing okay?
Yeah, I don't feel too good.
Yeah,
So
that's
it
right.
might be sooner than you
Elvis
think.
is dead, and I'm not feeling too good myself. Yeah,
And congratulations to you for your AMA award upcoming.
I am so excited about that. That's pinnacle of my career. Yeah. And it's because of the listeners who tune in, but also I have to thank all the people who have been on over the years, who I've spoken with and who have taken their time, like you, like Lance, and actually Well, it just means a lot to taking your time and to lend your voices for art, as it turns out, to be archival purposes. I really hadn't thought about, how it's actually contributing to history, but yes, eventually it will, so talk about once you're gone.
So maybe your recording device here will be on auction here in a couple of years.
That's right. Think of the DNA of everybody's been spitting into this, over the years. That's true. Well, thank you very much, John. I appreciate that. And so, yeah, that's going to be upcoming next Friday. So hanging around for that. Are you going to be, you're not going to the banquet or the
I'm not going to the
service.
banquet, no, but I'll be in town.
You'll be in town because I'll see you next week while I'm kind of hanging out. I got nothing to do for a while. And so we'll get together and you are going to be.
I got to go back to the farm. Those cows aren't going to milk themselves.
Now, I know that you, Lance Burton and friends, are going to be doing some things, including coming up to Magic Texas. You're going to be coming to Arlington.
Yeah, we're doing the night before show.
Correct.
For the TAOM SAM combined convention.
And FISM. Yeah.
So and FISM. So that's going to be, we're looking forward to that. That's in, I think
September the 2nd-ish.
That sounds like, that sounds correct.
And that's going to be just an awesome time. That's not something that's going to be part of your registration, but it was something that is going to be an extra event that we're going to be going to the night before.
The registrants can buy tickets, and
Correct.
the public can buy tickets to it also.
Right.
So we're doing that, and then we've got to leave to do a couple of shows, but I'll be back at the convention for the last day, and I think I'm doing something the last day of the convention.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be a great convention. I encourage everyone to go to magictexas.com and you can find out more information about that. I mean, I'm involved in that. That's why I'm promoting that then as well. It's going to be a great convention. And the talent that Mike Miller has put together is just outstanding. He's so excited about it as well. And he's also receiving a special fellowship because of what all he has contributed as far as booking talent for all the different conventions over the decades that he's been working as well. So anyhow, thank you guys very much for contributing today. Thanks a lot for attending, and also thanks for your words and friendship. Appreciate it. John?
Thanks, Scott.
Lance?
Thanks, Scott.
This is Scotty out. We just finished our dinner banquet, and they're going to be starting soon with the evening show, which is going to be featuring, which is the last thing of the evening, or of the convention, which is going to be then the Long Beach Mystics. They're going to be coming, say Long Island. Thinking Long Island tea. I'm going to the Castle next week, and it's one of my favorite drinks next to the NPH. Anyhow, I'm thinking of Magic Castle because I'm here right now with Magic Castle royalty, and Magic royalty is someone I've admired for years, and that's Diana Zimmerman. Hi there, Diana.
Hi, how are you? Well, it's an honor to be here with you because it's a mutual admiration, I assure you.
Oh, mercy. Thank you. Making me blush. I have admired you for years. We were just talking a little bit earlier about that. And you've been working with the juniors at the castle, which I think is amazing. And you've been doing that for decades now. And you have seen so many young magicians grow up to be professional full-time magicians and in other professions as well. But it means a lot because of what you are giving them as far as that confidence that they're learning,
Well, it's incredible to see the growth in the kids. I started the program. It took me 4 years to get it started because the board didn't want to know. But finally, with the help of Cary Grant, the actor, it's harder to say no to Cary Grant than it is Diana Zimmerman. I mean, how do you say no to Cary? So he helped me get the program started. That was in 1975. We're coming up on our 50th anniversary. It's incredible. And we've graduated, over 3,000 kids for the program. But the thing that's the most rewarding is to see the growth in these kids. They come in shy.
And how old are they beginning? They have to be a minimum
They can come in at 13. 13. And then when they turn 20, they're automatically made members of the castle at 21. And it is tough to get in. They have to be very good. We take about 1 in every 7 or 8 kids get in on their first audition. Of course, they can come back and audition again, but
are
it
many
is
of these kids members of other clubs or rings or assemblies or something? Or
a lot of them are, and there are some other, teenage magic clubs. When the Mystics was going
we don't have the Mystics anymore.
No, we don't, and that was the best junior program in the world. But when the Mystics was going, we actually started the program. There was an overlap. And of course, all the Mystic kids joined. So we had Mike Weber, we had, Mark Kalin, we had, all the Mystics also joined the junior program. So we've just graduated, some of the most amazing kids, but not just in magic. We have kids that have become extraordinary doctors. We have kids that have become extraordinary teachers, The growth in kids. Marvin Roy used to say, you'll never meet a bad kid in magic.
Wow. That's really I've never thought about that because of what they teach you. It's like the Boy Scouts.
Yeah.
They said, we can't guarantee that they're going to be perfect, but we can guarantee that they're going to be good.
Yeah. Well, I think what magic does is a discipline, you know, and I think the kids that get into magic, certainly myself, I got into magic when I was 8 years old. I was incredibly shy. Yeah, 8 years old. I was incredibly shy. I was incredibly poor. I didn't know we were homeless. I just thought we were camping out.
That's funny.
You know, but you see the growth in these kids. And when we had the first auditions, Glenn Falkenstein was on the panel. So was Jerry Blount. So was Nick Lewin was one of our original sponsors. And when you see these kids come in, we had 100 kids audition. They were all boys. We took 50 of them. You know, Dirk Arthur was one of our original members. We have 2 board members.
And Dirk was one of the
now
Long
that
Beach Mystics also.
Yeah, he was. Yeah. And we have 2 board members now that are former junior members. Rick Gerber was our very first junior member.
Right.
And of course, Ed Alonzo, who's just such a rock star, you know. But we have kids that are doctors. We have kids, I mean, in every profession. And you see them come in shy and sort of nerdy. And you watch the growth, the confidence. Magic does that. It teaches kids to think, I can.
Did you feel that way whenever that you came out of your shell because you were so shy? You found magic's like, hey, I have confidence now. Did you feel like you could be more of an extrovert?
Oh, 100%. I mean, I was so shy I wouldn't talk to anybody. But doing magic, and then I won my first trophy at 13, you know.
Wow.
I started getting this confidence and started growing, you know. Like my ex-husband, Dick Zimmerman, said, now you can't shut her up.
Now, I remember one of the things that Marvin Roy was always fond of saying is you have to have a theme. And of course, you had this great theme about having that.
The record act.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so did you know Marvin? And I mean,
oh, very well, you know. In fact,
I mean, did he, I meant to say, I know you knew him, but I meant, did he influence you in that direction?
Well, I was very lucky because I grew up in Phoenix, Arizona, and there was a teenage magic club there, the Rabbits in Our Hat Magic Club.
What was the guy's name who ran the magic shop there? And
Bert Easley.
Bert Easley, that's the guy. Yes, I love Bert. Yeah.
Bert Easley. I was 8 years old, and my friend and I wanted to have a carnival. We wanted to have a magician, and I went around, collected Coke bottles, and got 47 cents. I found a penny. And my dad took me down to Bert Easley's magic shop. Yeah. And Bert was sitting there, and he was producing coins out of there. And I went, wow, any profession that can make money easy.
That's what Oscar Munoz said, too.
Do.
You know, see somebody doing a miser's dream saying, hey, if I can make money out of thin air.
Oh, my God, it's Diana the Enchantress. Can I get your autograph?
Of course, no charge. But it was just extraordinary. And I just loved it. And to be the member of the Rabbits in Our Hat Magic Club, which was a teenage magic club, you had to be 13. Of course, I was only 8, but I wouldn't go away. So finally, they let me join.
Right.
But that's the reason we have I fought for 4 years to get this program going. And then I fought because there were times when the board didn't want the program to continue.
Why?
Well, sometimes they're stodgy old magicians.
Okay, I understand. And politics involved.
Politics and everything, yeah. But Cary Grant was always our champion. He always championed it.
Yeah.
So,
if you have somebody like that in your corner, how can they say no?
How can they say no?
And he was on the board of directors, I guess?
He was on the board of directors, and he saw my very first show. Bill and Milt booked me at the Castle when I was 19. I think I'm the youngest woman to ever work there. Mm-hmm. And Cary it was in the old Palace of Mystery, 20 seats, very small room. Mm-hmm. I walk out, this little girl from the wrong side of the tracks from South Phoenix. I walk out on that stage, and who's sitting in the front row? Cary Grant.
Cary Grant. But did you have confidence, or did it scare you?
A little of both.
Okay.
I was bound and determined that I wasn't going to let Cary Grant down.
Of course not. Yeah. Of course not. Yeah. And so you continue then with the program, and other people are working on this then right now. Is that right?
Oh, my gosh. So, we have the best sponsors now. Both of them are former juniors, Steve Barnes and David Doyle, and both of them are former junior award winners. And a few years ago, Bob Dorian passed away. He took over for me for a while. I ran it for a long time, and then Bob took over because I got so busy with my business and everything. But I still go to the meetings. I'm still very involved. Right. And then when Bob passed away, Steve and David took over, and they have done, my little baby with this program is just, I can't believe what they've done with it. We now have international membership.
You do? So, is that because of after Zoom? COVID during Zoom?
Yeah, during Zoom, the technology. And so what happened was that they spread it out all over the world. kids in South Africa now. We have kids in Japan. We have kids all over the country now that can join, and they watch it by Zoom. And this year, for the very first time, we're going to bring 2 of our foreign non-resident members in to perform on our Future Stars show. I mean,
how cool is that?
It makes me cry. I'm so happy, I can imagine being a kid in South Africa and getting to come to the Magic Castle. It was my dream. It was my dream.
Yeah. I mean, it's an international dream, and the fact that you're bringing these kids in, that is amazing.
It's to me, the greatest gift that anybody can have is to help someone else and to see these kids grow. I mean, to me, that's what this world should be.
Well, just like we were talking before offline about rescue animals, that you take care of those who need care.
Yeah, you do. And, you see these kids. We have a young girl now, Isha. When she barely made it into the program, and she was so shy, she wouldn't even get up and be an assistant for somebody. And now she has so blossomed. She's auditioning to work the castle.
Yeah.
It is so exciting to me to see these kids.
Now, when is the thing going to be coming up in the future, or the kids going to be?
We have a meeting coming up coming on the 18th of March. We have a meeting, and we have our meetings are on the last Saturday of every month. And then once a year, we have Future Stars, where all the kids, the best of the best, take over the whole castle. They perform in all the showrooms.
Everything.
Yeah, it's just, can you imagine? I mean, I just keep thinking of little Diana Schultz was my maiden name. Little Diana Schultz coming to the Magic Castle.
Never thought about that. As you said, when you were homeless and you were kind of shy.
And I would sell grapefruit door to door to get money to buy my magic tricks.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. Wow. Well, now let's talk about the convention here just a moment. What have you enjoyed? This has been just a great thing that Bill has put together.
Bill Smith is a genius. This is the best. I mean, see people like you that I haven't seen in years, and you meet people that you haven't seen in years. But the greatest thing about it is you learn about the history. I mean, you're learning so much about the history, like that incredible presentation that the Long Beach Mystics did. I mean, that was phenomenal.
Right.
Or the lecture about magic in California.
Yeah, David Charvet did a great job about it.
David Charvet is incredible. Yeah.
So maybe that Jack Goldfinger just might book him to do a lecture for the castle, I think, and talking about the history of magic in the golden age of Southern California.
It is so exciting because by studying our history, we really learn about who we are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is just have an amazing group that you have been working with for all these years. And this is an amazing group of magicians who have convened here on the Queen Mary. What a great venue this has been then also. It's just so super. And right now we've got like a swing jazz orchestra that's playing for us while we're having dinner. We're just taking a little break here for a minute while we talk outside of that. But it's just been an amazing week the last few days. And it's gone by so quickly.
And you get to see people like you. And like I said earlier, you see people that you just don't see, at normal magic conventions, and not a single card trick in sight.
That's true. Well, Diana, it's a pleasure. I can't tell you how much of a pleasure it is to get to see you again. As I said to you, and I'll say this publicly then also, it's just great to see you because, I mean, it looks like you haven't changed at all since I saw you on Mumbo Jumbo It's Magic. And that must have been back in the 70s or 80s, I guess. 1980, yeah.
1980.
That was phenomenal. You're still looking marvelous, and I appreciate everything that you're doing to raise the next generation of magicians and working with them as well.
Isn't that what it's about?
It is all about that, absolutely. Yeah. And it's passing it on, isn't it?
Yeah, and we've got people like Jonathan Todd, who has the Magic Lounge in Hawaii, and he is taking kids in as apprentices. Can you imagine? You get a trip to Hawaii, you get paid, and you're learning from somebody who runs a business with magic. I mean, there are so many people that are giving back, it's just incredible.
There are a few people who are out there, and I think that and you are encouraging other people to emulate what you're doing and these kinds of programs and things, and I hope that they do to make this even.
I'll leave you with one last thing. This is the one thing that I try to teach the kids. Magic is your foundation, not your ceiling.
Oh, I like that.
Whatever your dream is, make it your foundation, not your ceiling. This is what I teach all my kids, all the juniors. Whatever your dream is, whether it's magic or anything, make that your foundation. There's no stopping you when you believe in magic. Magic teaches you that you can do it, That's why you never meet a bad kid in magic.
I think you and I need to sit down and do a full episode sometime, talk for an hour. I mean, there's so much it sounds like we could talk about over it.
We will.
This was great. Diana, thank you very much for your time. So for the Magic Word Podcast, thank you. That was Diana Zimmerman. This is Scotty out. there are so many luminaries here and so many historians, people who know so much about what's been going on. And this is a great, Mark Holstein had just said this is a great place for a Magic History Conference because there's so much history here on the Queen Mary. Well, one of the people I was just talking with is my guest right now, Mike Michaels. Hey there, Mike.
Howdy, it's me, Mike Michaels. I live in Las Vegas, and I'm crazy for magic.
Well, you can stop right after you're crazy, probably, about right.
Yeah.
So we were just talking a moment ago, because I had Lance Burton on a little bit earlier on the episode, and you were saying that about how that, of course, you're known for this robotic act you do, and you were inspired by him.
Yeah, so 1982, if you remember Lance on The Tonight Show. So I'm watching him. I'm a hillbilly kid living up in the mountains of Colorado, and watching this, I think on a black and white TV. Well, Lance was so robotic. If you watch that video, he almost didn't look where he struck the matches and how he lit the candles, and he wasn't looking what he's doing. That's where it snatched into my head, hey, if I was like a robot Lance, let's say a robot typical magician, who would pull the flower out of the sleeve, produce the cards, and right now add in images of me acting like a robot doing this here at the table. All right. And we're back. So that's where I got the idea. Now I started to add more I call it robotic reinforcements. Open my face, take my teeth out, my head spins in the air. And as those progressed and came into the act, I started to drop things like the cards or the robot dove or some of the simpler stuff. I kind of evolved into a novelty act, so I could work in every country because I didn't speak.
No speaking, right.
No, 1,500 cartoon sound effects, 7.5 minutes without speaking, and I was able to get it on and off the plane before 9/11. After that, I had to go air cargo, and it was kind of a pain in the butt. I did end up building kind of the world's most ultimate specialty act where my body blows up to an animatronic duplicate of myself. But it's about 900 pounds worth of equipment for 7 minutes. Kids, I don't suggest that.
But was it worth your time?
Absolutely. I mean, I watch, I can't actually even remember how I built it. There's so much wiring up inside there that if I had to do the act again. So I'm pretty much retired from performing, and now I'm building stuff.
I know you are. And every time at Magic Live, yours is the one booth that seems like that attracts all attention because you're in the middle with a helicopter and all that cool stuff.
Yeah, I enjoy it. What's keeping me from wanting to perform or needing to be on stage is the fact that what I can create, I get to see the other magicians perform.
Right.
But I'm not the guy that's going to build the sub-trunk for you. I kind of want to create my own product line that are my ideas. That's what's keeping me going. So I have a good relationship with Bill Smith and admire him, and when people want stuff that they want a certain way, and if it's not in my head, I just will refer them somewhere else because I want to put 100% into what I'm building.
Do you have an engineering background or electronics, or how'd you get to know all this?
Bottom line is there's something inside me that allows me to be able to create this stuff. No, I got a high school education. I is no dummy. And early on, my parents would drive down from the mountains in the Colorado, and my father at the time had a CB radio, so he'd go to Radio Shack. But he'd be there like 3 hours because they want to put, an antenna on the top of a trailer. We were upper middle class. We had a double wide. So I literally programmed everything in Radio Shack in my head. Like, what is that? That's an LED. Now, you can't just hook that to a battery because there's something in there that allowed me to build this stuff in my head.
Yeah. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Kerry Pollack about his wireless wizardry.
Absolutely. Kerry's a genius, yes.
Yeah. Well, listen, I appreciate it. We're getting ready to start the show here momentarily. Mike, always good chance to see you. You're going to be, again, a dealer, I guess, this year at Magic?
Yeah, I might have a couple knee surgeries, but I'll be there with something, I'm sure.
Is that from jumping in and out of sub-trunks or what?
Not me. No, I don't know what I'm doing.
No, I mean as far as your knee surgery.
Yeah, look, I got to have a car on display and part of my new robot Tyrannosaurus Rex escape, so hopefully you'll see something that's kind of unique.
Very cool. Looking forward to it. It's a pleasure to talk with you. Thanks for the Magic Word Podcast. That was Mike Michaels. Scotty out. So we just finished the evening show, and it was with the Long Beach Mystics, and I've got somebody here with me who was not a Long Beach Mystic, but you have seen him perhaps on television for the years and years and years, starting out he was a little child, and now he's a big child. Here he is, Greg Wilson. Hello, Greg. How are you, man?
Howdy. Good to see you, Scott.
Good to see you, my friend, as well. So this was a good convention. Wouldn't you say it was just awesome?
Just wonderful.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, this is kind of in your own backyard here in Long Beach because you live in L.A., right?
That's right. Yeah.
So you're not very far away over from this. So,
well, we have a couple hours. Yeah.
That's right. So how's your mom? How's Nani Darnell doing?
Oh, thank you for asking. She's doing great.
Yeah.
She just had her 93rd birthday.
93rd. As I recall on Facebook, you had some sort of party for her, too. Isn't that
She
right?
got to have 3 parties.
3 parties. Okay,
yeah, we had a family one on her birthday, and then the next one, Erica threw for her at the castle.
Nice.
And then I had another one at our office that was open for everybody to come.
Yep, that's so nice, so nice. Now, as far as this convention goes, have you been to many of these collectors before, or
this is my very first? It was very lucky.
Yeah, it was nice. It was kind of, as I said, in your own backyard over here. Next year it's going to be in Las Vegas. You thinking about signing up maybe for that one?
Oh, definitely.
You know, it's one of these kind of conventions. Once you've been to one, it's like, I don't want to miss another one. They're so much fun. And this is, I think, my 4th one as well. It's kind of like, I've got to come to all these.
Old friends and new friends.
That's right. And the fact when you say old friends, that's very true because this is about old magic in a way. You know, it's classic magic, and a lot of people who are older. You know, this is there are not a lot of young people here, but there are some, obviously, who are getting involved with collecting and with history and interested in history. And this is the place to come, I think. And if you want to hear about the history of magic, and that's something you've been preserving for a long time with the Magic Land of Alakazam. Tell me what's the latest, by the way, on what you've been doing with doing all the archives.
Well, I'm still working on the archives. It was wonderful at Penn and Teller to help feature Mom and Dad's history on the episode that aired right around Christmas time with the train illusion that's
right.
Penn presented.
That's right.
Yeah. And I just acquired magicauction.com.
Oh, you did? Okay.
So we're giving new life to that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that was kind of defunct for a while. I don't think anybody was doing anything with that.
Oh, no, it was still alive and still going well. But Joe and Chris Trippy decided it was time to retire.
That's who it was, yeah.
Yes, and they put it up for auction, and I bid it against everybody, and I won.
So what do you plan on doing with that?
We've already started the new site. It's not open yet to the public, but it will be the same magicauction.com, the same basic setup. Everything's pretty much the same, except it has new features like online bidding. So your bidding will be instant, a wanted section. So if you're looking for something and it's not listed, you can put it in the one ads.
That's great.
And somebody suggested, how about a shipping section? So people can comment about what shipping they had that was good, who was bad, and other wonderful new features.
I like that idea about something that you're wanting. I've always thought a great idea. They got eBay in which you're looking to sell things. There should be something that's called eSay. You want to say something that this is something I'm looking for that I want to buy. You know, somebody should open which of course is easy. So eSay. I just think it's a clever idea, and so I'm glad that you're doing that. That's
and we're also including forums that would be interactive. And the first forum that we're going to feature is my experiences with Joe and Chris. So it's the Trippy Forum.
The Trippy Forum.
Yes.
I like that. That's pretty funny. Now, in this convention, what have you seen that has been memorable to you? As you said, this was the first one and you're going to be coming back then again. So what is it that wanted to make you come back? What did you see or hear or meet?
Just hearing about the history is amazing. Things I didn't know about.
Yeah.
And also seeing the performances.
Oh, they were awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially watching the Okido presentation that
Randy Pitchford
did today. Yeah.
That was something I think that was very interesting then as well, in which he had some original Okido pieces and he was performing those then as well. So
yes.
And then John Cox was talking about Harry Houdini on the high seas, particutly.
That was funny. Recounting all his trips back and forth across the Atlantic.
Yes. Which apparently that he is not, or didn't have very good sea legs, I guess, so to speak.
Right, yes.
He got sick all the time.
Seasick became a thing for him.
That's right. When you were cruise ships, did you ever have any problems with seasickness?
No. Okay. My problem was communicating because I was doing it before the internet.
Oh, yeah, I guess that's right. Yeah.
So now it's much easier.
Yeah. You know, I remember years ago in which their magicians would go to sea and it was kind of like they wouldn't be seen after that because they couldn't keep in contact with their clients.
Right. It was hard to get the next booking.
That's right. So it's kind of like they couldn't get in touch with you because you were out to sea and they couldn't reach you. And then if you could get a good internet connection now and again, it was pretty few and far apart.
That's exactly right. Yes. So that's why now I'm focusing on the magicauction.com.
I see. Okay. And as I said, I remember that you were trying to raise some money for a while to try to get your videotapes transferred. Has that happened? Are you still working on that? What's the status on that?
Since we spoke, I was able to get a huge collection of Mom and Dad's original broadcasts that had never been seen since they were shot back in 57, 58.
Okay.
And we got all of those saved, which is wonderful. The next phase is the original masters of the Magic Line of Magic Circus episodes. That I have all the source reels, they're called ISOs of each camera.
Yeah.
And so now it's gotten more expensive. It's almost $500 an hour. And I have about 19 hours. So that's quite a fundraising effort.
It really is. That's not something that's going to be, you can just kind of pull out of your back pocket and say, yeah, no problem. Here you go. I mean, $500 per hour. Yeah. 19 hours to go. Yeah. It's quite a bit.
And the reason to do it is because the machines that play back the 2-inch videotape are going away.
And there's only one person in the world.
In LA, and there may be some others around in other parts, but he's the main guy. He does all the
equipment.
Right. He has every type of analog recording machine. It's just amazing.
Yeah. Well, it's awful good to see it. I'm glad to hear that your mom's doing well and everything else is going great. And you got the magicauction.com. It's going to be up and running and everything.
And there's only one thing Mom wants to do.
What she want to do?
She wants to go to the Dallas convention.
This is going to be an awesome this year, coming to Magic Texas. It's going to be in Dallas, and it's going to be great because she was from Dallas. Is that right?
Yes. She met Dad in Dallas back in 53, New Year's Eve. And that's she considers that her home base.
So this would be a great place, or another good reason, I think, in order to come to Magic Texas, in order to meet Nani Darnell and Greg Wilson.
Yeah, one of the things I know they're going to feature her with is the Texas, not Texas Association of Magicians, but the Dallas Magicians Club.
Yes.
That's celebrating their 100th year.
That's right. That's why that it's this is Assembly 13 in the Dallas Magic Club that's sponsoring this. And in fact, we have another podcast. It's called 13 Minutes to Magic Texas, in which every 2 weeks we talk about different aspects of the convention. And I'm hosting this when we talk with the president, the co-sponsors, actually. There's Dal Sanders, who is the president, along with Mark Whitehouse from the SAM, who are the co-chairman, basically, of this. And then talk with other people who are committee chairman and dealers and everything else that's going to be happening. It's going to be awesome. We got a brand new hotel that just opened up in February that is the Lowe's Hotel, and it's right across the street from the Rangers Stadium, the world champion Texas Rangers, by the way. So it's going to be just really great, and I'm looking forward to seeing you there then, Greg. So,
and a very interesting thing, Mom and Dad's wedding anniversary is on the 29th of August.
No way.
And the convention starts on the 1st of September.
1st September, that's right.
So my goal is to get back to Dallas before the convention and go to the SMU church on the university where they got married.
Because your dad was a cheerleader there.
He was. He was a fraternity president and cheerleader. And
I remember when I was the president of the TAOM back in 2000, and I had him come out, and I took him around all these different places, and he was promoting the TAOM, and we talked to different television stations, and we were in a van right there in SMU, and he was telling all those stories to me about what all they used to do there. It was kind of cool.
I missed that one.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was just a lot of fun back then. So I'm looking forward to this one, and it should be a really good convention. And I believe that Gabe Blackstone actually is going to be the guest of honor there as well. And since you're going to be coming in early, you'll get a chance to see Lance Burton and friends. He's going to be doing a show there the night before.
Oh, great. Wonderful. I didn't know.
On Thursday night. So that's going to be a special extra event then, too. So
wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, and hopefully you can interview Mom.
Well, I really would like to do that.
The lovely Nani Darnell.
The lovely, I really want to do that. Well, while we're here, by the way, that this has been a great convention. I'm going to start to wrap this up with you because we have been speaking with so many different people the last few days, and this kind of is a good place to wrap it. And one of the things, by the way, for those of you who are listening, we've been running a contest for the last couple of weeks, and that is for an opportunity to win a copy, or rather, Psy Rollers. It's a trick that's by Michael Breger, and I have drawn the names. And drum roll, please. There we go. Thank you. The winners are Gary Weimer and David Thornburg. congratulations, guys. You are the winners, and I'm going to contact Michael Brager. He'll be getting in touch with you and send those tricks out to you. So be sure to subscribe to the Magic Word Podcast. Be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us and all the rest of that good stuff as well. And I've had just such a wonderful time, as you can tell here from the Magic Collectors, Texas Magic. This has been the Magic Collectors Expo. That's the X, not Texas, but Expo. This has been really great. Next year we'll be in Las Vegas, and we're going to have an opportunity then to go to David Copperfield's museum, which you're a part of. I believe you got a few things that are there.
Sure, that stuff, yeah.
With the Magic Land of Alakazam that's there. And you have been to the museum. It's pretty cool, isn't it?
It sure is. It's beautiful. Amazing.
And so if you register for next year's convention, you'll get a chance then to do that as well. But it's going to be a while before that Bill Smith puts this up for registration. Greg, always good talking with you, my friend. I just think you're doing great work in keeping magic alive with you and your family. So congratulations.
Thank you, Scott. It's great to talk with you. Good to see you.
Good seeing you as well. So I think that's a wrap, actually, from Long Beach. So for the Magic Word Podcast, that was Greg Wilson, and this is Scotty out.
Happy magic.